G'day guys, welcome to the Connect, Engage, Empower podcast. As always, this episode is brought to you by E.M.P Pathways, a not-for-profit organisation that specialises in helping young people to learn and develop life skills through their passions, including music and gaming. Today's guest, Ivan Vantagiato, is a renowned marketing strategist, social media specialist, chatbot expert, and entrepreneur. Ivan is an entrepreneur, connector, and the founder of the Digital Marketing Tribe, and in his spare time, he's a pro gamer. Ivan shares a whole bunch of insights with us in this episode, including some practical advice on how to launch your own brand and how to become a pro gamer. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, I really appreciate it. A man of your skills, like your social media expert, chatbox expert, and an entrepreneur with our Digital Marketing Tribe. And in your spare time, you're a pro gamer. So you're exactly the kind of person that I enjoy speaking to.
You got me when you got me on LinkedIn and you were telling me a little bit about it. I was like, I have to be on this podcast because a lot of people, they're getting little bits and pieces about my gaming, but slowly I'm introducing it because they always see the guy in the suit, and they're used to that. And so the guy who sits behind a racing wheel, they're trying to figure that out. So yeah, it's interesting.
So what got you into that world? Have you been a gamer for your whole life, or?
Look, as far as I can remember, I was PlayStation 1 Gran Turismo as a little kid, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and before everyone else got up and, just to get my licenses and, to step up. And I've been involved in go-karting. So I've been racing go-karts since the age of 15 in real life. And from that, I moved to racing motorbikes, racing go-karts competitively at a state and national level. So much of my life, of 17 years so far, I've been involved in motorsport. And so if it's got an engine, a couple of wheels, and there's some form of competition and racing, I'm in. And what got me back into gaming, so I haven't been go-kart racing for the last probably now 2 years because the company keeps me very busy. And, having a go-kart and racing go-karts is not just going to the event. You got to clean it, you got to fix it, you got to buy things, you got to have a trailer and go out and have somebody with you. So there's a lot of components that go into it. And there was no time. And so I bit the bullet and I said, you know what? I'm getting into this thing called iRacing. I hear all these great drivers racing in this thing and live stream events and all that. And I thought, you know what? I'll do that.
I think it's super interesting on a few levels, which we'll get into. But just first, I just want to know how would you compare it to actually a real life go-kart being in an online simulation of it?
So the biggest difference is the lack of feeling, because when you are in a car, race car, go-kart, it's all about, you actually feel a lot of it in your bum. So you're actually connected to the vehicle and you actually understand the grip with that particular motion. So you're missing a couple of motions. You're missing G-force, you're missing latitude, longitude, and you're missing the vibrations that give you a lot of input. And so when you go to online, and that's why a lot of real race car drivers struggle with online, is because those things are missing, and all you have is the vibrations on the wheel, a flat screen or VR, but you don't have anything else to go by. There's no vibrations. So that is a huge difference.
Absolutely. Do you think that might be why some people just can't handle the VR? They sort of get a bit, like my mate's got a wicked VR set up, like he's got the full racing one, and like I love it, but I've got another mate that goes on it, and like he's turning and he starts getting dizzy and is feeling sick. Like I'm thinking just maybe that's because those other elements are missed out on. The brain just sort of goes, what is going on here?
Yeah, some people do get those headaches and throwing up on VR. And the tip that I've seen out there online is you just got to do it in increments. So you do 2-3 minutes, stop, 2-3 minutes, stop, then go to 10 minutes and stop. And eventually your mind gets used to it and that stops. So it's interesting because obviously with a car in a racing game, there is a lot of vibrations and, the head's moving around and you're going into corners and all that. And if you're not used to it, it will happen, but I can tell you, if you're getting sick in a game, you will definitely get sick in real life because the G-forces and the feeling and the pressure on your neck.
Yeah, that's got to
It's,
be more
it's
full on. Absolutely. That's
yeah.
doing it, doing the real thing. Gee whiz. So one of the things I thought you sound was really interesting. Then is just the amount of time you must have devoted to be getting as good as what you are in the online world. Yet you still say it's less time commitment than doing the real thing. I mean, that's a bit of a bonus for a lot of young kids out there that are sort of getting into car racing, where their parents are a bit worried about the safeties of it. They can sort of, well,
Yeah.
this is less time. There's still a lot of commitment and a lot of stuff involved in doing it. Like, it's still a productive thing, but you can do this and not be at risk. And also,
Yeah, so basically, a lot of so if you're a parent and you're listening to this and you love motorsport and you've always thought it'd be the coolest thing to go out with your kids and have go-karts and race and be competitive and just give that passion that you have to your kid, I would highly encourage, it is way more affordable before you go out and buy a go-kart, trailer, equipment and everything that you need, to actually have a simulator. Let's see how good the kid is. Does he enjoy the simulator? Because if he doesn't enjoy the simulator, he's not going to enjoy the real life. And so then you've saved yourself a whole bunch of money. When I say, less time and less commitment, it is easy for me at say 5 a.m. to jump in and have a 1 hour practice.
right, yes,
And then get on with my day. Where in go-karting or real motorsport, it's Saturday and Sunday and you need to go at those certain times and there's no in between. And so 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do a 9 p.m. to 10. So it can work around you. So like I'm in a suit and within 6 minutes, I'm on a racetrack or competing against other people online. Yeah. That's the difference. And that's where that freedom. Now, you asked what's harder, real life or sim racing? Controversially, sim racing is hard.
Right. I suppose you got a lot more competition, some seriously fierce competition out there. Like, I don't even know the numbers of it, but it must be huge. It would be substantially
There's
more
no
than
time limit.
Yeah, wow.
There's no time limit. People practice, some people for the big live events, some people do up to 300 hours practicing for that round.
Wow.
That will never happen in real life. And also the entry level cost makes it affordable for more people. And we do, as race drivers, we do say, oh, if I had the same equipment as everyone else, I would, I'd be really good. And now in sim racing, it's true. If you do get, there is better equipment, of course, you're not going to compete with a G29 Logitech compared to a guy who's got pro pedals and pro wheels. But if you do get the pro pedals and the pro wheels, there is literally nothing that stops you from competing against anybody. 7 weeks ago, when COVID hit, I was in a practice session with Roman Grosjean, a Formula One driver.
Right.
And I was 69 thousandths of a second faster than him.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is awesome. That is something to tell the grandkiddies about, I think. That's amazing. So, look, so these guys are practicing for 300 hours for a single event. How do you compete with that? Like, when you're practicing, is it really refined practice, or are you just doing laps, or how do you work it out?
I haven't got 300 hours.
But
also, I'm not at their level yet. So at the moment, I'm probably 600 to 800 tenths of a second per lap slower than the aliens. And so when I say aliens, is the elite. And so my goal for 2020 is to bridge that gap, and then next year to compete against the aliens. So I put in probably 10 hours a week at the moment.
And how do you break those hours down? Are you just strictly racing, or do you like work on certain areas of a track, or?
Probably 8 hours practicing and 2 hours racing on any particular week. And that's primarily because that's what I need the most. I don't need to go out there and be against others and do that. What I do need is the time out there practicing, bridging the gap. So that's really the goal.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things young people maybe don't understand so much about being a pro gamer is that it's not just about playing the game for hours and on end. Like, that's not really what's going to get you better. You sort of
Yeah.
get used to your weaknesses and just focus on your strengths in that way. That's something. Whenever I get, I get parents asking me about, young people that are gaming too much and they're really worried because they want to be a pro gamer. And I say, well, that's actually, a fantastic thing to want to be for several reasons, like because of the commitment involved and like the cognitive development that comes from that. Like if you're sitting around planning on how to get better and like actually strategically planning like how you're going to practice and improve on that with an end goal, that is really beneficial for the brain. So I always say to parents that encourage them to do that, but hearing it from people such as yourself is it's huge because it just sort of you guys are getting towards like an elite standards where you can't be messing around, and I assume that involves getting good sleep, like, and eating and making sure you've got a good, like, a healthy balance in your life, like, so you can just sort of maintain focus when you're on the course.
Look, the reality is it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a tradie, a marketer, a business person, somebody who works at another organization or any organization that you work in, there needs to be a plan. And in real life, there's a plan, and so in the other world. So I can appreciate why the parents get scared of their kids spending so much time. But if the kid actually goes to them and say, well, look, this is where I'm at. I need to get to this level. These are the things that I do. I've got a guy coaching me, or I got this guy helping me out with this, and I got that happening, and I got this stream happening. And actually get the parents involved in so if they're gonna do streaming and then do the video editing and then do all this stuff and then have a YouTube channel, get the parents involved in that. Hey mom, do you like this audio? Do you think I should put this clip or that clip? And then all of a sudden it can become a family thing. The challenge is when parents are just not involved and don't want to perhaps be involved in knowing more, because if they knew more they would actually be interested themselves.
Absolutely.
And so that's where that's really, really important. But I can understand a parent saying you're not going to be a pro gamer, like go back to study. I can appreciate that. But
Yeah.
but if the kid is serious and the kid is good, now ultimately you need to be good. If you suck and you've been sucking for two years and you're telling me you're going to go pro and you haven't improved in anything, well, then it might be time to change sport.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But in that meantime, even if you're not getting there, you've learnt a lot about planning and that's stuff that's involved in the office and in every aspect of life, so you still learn a lot of valuable lessons as long as you are doing it correctly. So obviously there are a few other concerns that parents have around their young people gaming. What would you say are the biggest risks to young people? Do you think there are any, or?
There's always risk. There's a risk even with adults, and I've seen it happen in sim racing with adults treating each other like children and screaming at each other and calling each other names. I think the biggest worry is bullying. Within the Discord channels and chats and all that. I think the other big worry is obviously people pretending to be someone that they're not. Like if adults are trying to pretend to be kids to speak to kids.
Yes. Yep.
I think that's a huge problem in the gaming community, that parents and kids wouldn't even know that person is like an adult. But so I think those are legitimate concerns. But again, if you're involved and the kid gives you an update on how their day went and how their session went, and you work together on it, then you can suss it out pretty quick. And I would say for the kids, if you are getting some harassment and messages and comments from people, let's say, in motorsport, it happens, when you first start, everybody's your friend. And then as soon as you start beating them, everybody disappears.
Yes.
And then they start talking bad about you. So sometimes people talking bad about you is a good thing because it means that they're worried that you're now actually becoming competition. But for a kid, it can be seen as, oh, I have no more friends. Like no one is my friend anymore. So, you gotta talk to each other.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that advice is absolutely the best advice anyone could give to someone that's concerned about someone gaming, or even if you're gaming and you're getting worried yourself. One of the things, like I've done a lot of research and spoken to a lot of young kids over the last couple of years, and one of the things that I have found is that cyberbullying is definitely the big issue. And it's super interesting in the gaming world because there's almost a different culture of what's acceptable. Like the way people talk to each other in the gaming world, like calling people noobs and all this different stuff is an acceptable language to most people in the gaming world. Yeah, you wouldn't do that in real life. And
Yeah.
the more young people I speak to, the more I realize, and the more research I'm doing on it all, is that there are some that are getting offended by this stuff and they're not reporting it because they think it's a part of the culture. And that stuff's leading on to some pretty disturbing stats around suicide and self-harm. But it even goes down to like me and one of the ironic things about this whole gaming venture that I've been on is that during this time, my son, who's 7 now, is he's got he's not got an addiction to gaming, but he is spending a large amount of time on screens. So he's actually come into one of our programs, and I've been working one-on-one with him, like doing all through the steps of our program. And one of the things that has come out is that the bullying, even for him anyway, can happen non-verbally. So when he's losing a fight in like Fortnite, and people are coming up and doing the taunt dances and stuff to him, he's taking that to heart. And it's like, God, like, there's so many things you don't think about. Like, I used to play zombies on Call of Duty all the time, and like, I got really into it. And I'd get pretty annoyed if someone wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And sometimes someone else would come on the mic and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and it'd be like a young kid. And it's like, because you're playing an MA-rated game or whatever, you think, oh, there's not going to be... You're playing with other adults, but you're not always. And there's a lot of kids out there that are really taking this to heart. And, I just think that's a huge issue because parents are more concerned about the time spent on it. It's more about, well, what's happening while they're on it rather than the amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, the balance is important as well. And, a bit of off screen time, on screen time. But the thing is that the communication just needs to be there on both parties. The parent sees the kid distressed or struggling to go back to sleep after playing, and then you got to read the sign and read between the lines. Just like like in a lot of things, like you don't hear what the person is saying. You're trying to hear what they're not saying, and that's the tip. Like oh yeah, it was great, it was beautiful, but it looks like really upset. It wasn't great, it was beautiful. So now why don't you cut the bullshit and tell me what really happened? So that's really, really important. And to not, if there is the alarm bells going, or aggression, they're starting to get a bit more aggressive and all that. They're the early signs, to get on it. And like anything, you got to get on it quick.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, gaming's not your only I'm super interested about you because you're a man of many traits, and you seem to not just be sort of dabbling in them. You seem to be very skilled at all of them. So let's go back to the beginning if we can. And what when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
So when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old, I wanted to be a chef. I can
Right.
proudly say that I cannot cook to save my life. But that didn't work out. So I actually wanted to be a graphic designer. So I graduated from high school and went straight into uni and did 2 years of the course. And while I was doing the course, I actually realized that I didn't love it. But growing up, so when I realized at 15 that I wanted to do go-kart racing, my dad said, fantastic, go work. So I actually, my first job was working in a box factory. And I worked, and not like The Simpsons,
Yeah,
it was a proper
that's honestly what sprung to
dirty,
my mind.
dirty place to work at. And then as a 15-year-old, every school holiday, I worked in that factory to earn enough money to then buy the go-kart. So that was my real first taste of jobs. Then I moved to Macca's, paid better, better culture than a box factory, working with grumpy 40-year-old men. And I worked for McDonald's for 4 years, and you learn a lot of structure and a lot of processes and procedures within that company. And I did everything. I did every role that you could do at Macca's, from the burgers to drive-through to McCafe, you name it. I was involved. And when I realized after 2 years of uni as a graphic designer that I didn't like it and wasn't going to be my thing. I moved into customer care and sales in the telco industry over the phone. So I spent uh, 5.5 years and between two organizations on the phone, customer care and sales, and then moved into BDM. So I moved into a business development manager role, still in the telco industry, but now in small business and medium business and face to face, which was awesome. So I'm Italian and I like to use my hands, and I did that for 5.5 years, and then I started Digital Marketing Tribe and started this agency.
Wow. So, I mean, you seem to have a lot of passion in or maybe that at least drive for everything that you do. I mean, you might not have been passionate about working at a box factory or McDonald's, but you you seem to have this inner ambition to not only just do something, but if you're going to do it, then you're going to do it well. Is that a fair assumption?
It's a fair assumption today. It was not probably a fair assumption maybe as a 24-year-old or 25-year-old. Got a lot more focus now, a lot
Right.
more, far better focus on what it is that I want to do and what it is that I don't want to do. But as a 24-year-old, if you came to me with a new shiny idea, I'd be like, yeah, let's do that. And then 3 weeks later, oh my God, there's another idea and another
Yeah.
idea and another one.
Yep. And
So
none get done.
I
Yep.
was more like that.
Yep.
So, it is a fair assumption, but it's been worked on.
Yeah.
Because, see, thing is, and my brother said this, time will pass. And if you stop and start, stop and start, stop and start, you're always going to be back at the beginning and you're going to have to start again. And so once you've made a commitment or you've chosen something, whatever it is, like it doesn't matter what job, profession, sport, esports, whatever, if you've chosen it and you really love it and you like it, you can't quit. No matter how bad the times get, no matter how brutal it gets, because when you quit, someone else hasn't. And then the bar gets pushed. And so then not only do you have to come back to where you were, but now the bar is even further away. And so you need to keep going. And that's probably where that's finally stuck in me after, a lot of years and a lot of like moving in and out of things. And so like with the sim racing, I said to you earlier, the goal is, January 1, 2021 to be at the same level as the aliens. But if I'm not, no problem. Like we'll keep going until we get it because I understand that it's possible. And once you understand that it's possible, you just got to keep working and also appreciate your competitors. Because for a lot of people, the problem with sport and any sport is that they're sore losers. And
Yes.
you
Yep.
can't be a sore loser. Because if I put in 10 hours and another guy's put in 300 hours, what gives me the right to think that I deserve to win?
Yeah.
Does
Yep.
it make sense?
No, that's it. You get out what you put in. That's a certain thing. So,
That's it.
I
Keep going.
you've got just this incredible drive. How did that translate from going into your own business? So when you did that, were you feeling confident or were you feeling sort of on the edge? And did you have something to fall back on if it wasn't going to work out? Or how did you do all that time in your life?
Yeah, timing is not really my forte. So I started the business 12 months before my wedding.
Oh, right.
And,
Wow, that would have been a stressful year.
and
That's like the two most
I
stressful
started
things
the,
you could do. Did you move
yeah,
house as
yeah,
well? Oh
yeah,
my
and I started the
God.
business on the back of no cash flow,
Wow.
and on the back of the business starting in September. And as we know, only 3 months later, and it's 3 4 months later, and it's Christmas. So many things, like as a B2B business that were done, which probably aren't the smartest things to do. Starting in September, starting with no backup plan and all that. But the wife to be at the time said, I'll give you 3 months. If you can get the money that you used to get in your job in 3 months, sure, we can continue with this yellow company thing that you started that supposedly now you are a social media marketing person. And so that was the agreement. And for anybody looking to start a company, you do need to speak to your partner and you do need to get them on board at some level. They don't have to be involved in the business, but you can't just start and then say, hey, I don't care about your opinion. So we made a deal. the deal was 3 months, make or break. 3 years, I think I won, but who's counting? But for me, look, we all go through it. Before the start of the race, my stomach is sick, like literally. But you learn to deal with it. And every new month, new week, there's new challenges that make you sick or worried, or how the hell am I going to pull that off? But you got to have faith, like your ability, what you do, how you do it. It needs to come through. And eventually the nerves calm down. The lights go green, the race starts. You have a good, you have a good start. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why was I worried for 2 hours before the race starts? So you got to challenge yourself. Like I don't like people that go for goals that are achievable. Like to me, it's lazy. Like, oh, I'm gonna set myself a target of 6. Like you've been doing 6 for 2 years. Why don't we go for 7 or 8 or 10? So I don't like that. So if that's what gets me up.
Absolutely. Now, in this, trying to keep up with this, with the world of social media and marketing within it is a crazy challenge. Like, I mean, there's so many different platforms, and there's different age groups and different platforms, and they're looking for different things with all of them. I can really see a need for your business and what you're offering. How do you just keep up with just like the wave of stuff that's constantly going on, and what would you recommend for people that like want to sort of start making their way into digital marketing for their own products, and where to turn, and yeah, what are the steps?
Yeah, I think as as much as there are lots of people out there that do what I do, you need to do your homework about what results they have, what have they done in the past, what companies do they work with. Get some references, like, hey, can I call some of your customers? And so do your homework, because there's a lot of us out there, and the results will always speak for themselves. How do we keep up? I mean, it's our everyday. We've got the news feeds, we've got all the alerts. We're in the industry, we're marinated in it. So to me, it just becomes a natural thing. TikTok this morning announced that they're gonna match 1-to-1 up to $2,500 USD in ad credit with small businesses. So if you're a small business, if you put in 2,500 USD in advertising with TikTok, they're going to match with another 2,500. So it's huge, like, I
Yeah.
mean, who doesn't like free ad credit? So how do we keep up? We do keep up with all the latest stuff, but we also stick to the basics as well, because again, very similar to the 24-year-old Ivan, shiny toys are out there, and there's new things coming, and new strategies, and new this and new that. But you got to also stick to something, and just work with that, and then adjust accordingly. So it's a fine balance, but we've got a good team, we've got a good vibe, and there's no ego. So if you're an intern and you don't agree with the decision made for that client, you can openly say, I think we should do it this, I should do it that way. Because if you do that, and if you have an open discussion about targeting conversations, images, then you are giving yourselves the best chance at really producing a good result. Whereas, unfortunately, in a lot of organizations, I'm the boss, that's it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what I say goes.
Absolutely. So that TikTok thing, that really interests me. I'm assuming that'd be in response to the boycotting against the Facebook advertising that's happened recently. What's your opinion on just paying paid advertisements in general, and on doing them on all across the sites, or focusing it on one site? Or
I think TikTok is clever. I think that they've got some really clever people behind it, and the results have proven it. I think it's a great strategy to get people familiar to advertising with them. So give away some ad credit to get a taste for their advertising budget. If I were them, they'll probably make this next couple of months of advertising on there even more lucrative, to try and get even more people to see, wow, I reached 10,000 people with TikTok advertising. So I think they're clever. What are my thoughts around advertising, and what's going on, and Coca-Cola pulling out of Facebook and all
yeah,
that? Look, at the end of the day, who owns the race course really wins, not who has the race horse. And
yeah,
Coca-Cola is another brand that needs to use these platforms to reach its customers. And so, yeah, I mean, you can pause Facebook advertising for a month because you're grumpy, but
yeah.
eventually you come back because what else is there?
I mean, yeah,
You know,
nothing even comes close to being able to compete with that reach, can they? Yeah, that's why
Google,
I was taken aback by
Facebook.
it because, yeah, I mean, I haven't kept up with that really closely, but yeah, just I always thought, I know Facebook isn't as popular as what it might have used to have been among the younger people, but still, I mean, the reach it's got for its advertising is phenomenal. I mean, you can't compete with that on any front, except for we was just saying Google, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. So for me, I think, yeah, it's just people being grumpy and throwing a dummy spit and trying to make some noise, but ultimately they'll come back.
yeah,
They'll come back.
yeah.
So
I love that
we've got Google,
analogy.
and we've
Yeah,
got Facebook.
yeah,
We've got Google and we've got Facebook,
yeah.
and then you can use them at that such a large scale business. You have to use them. Like you got no choice.
Yeah, I mean, and so many people have gone, I'll go do my marketing on Instagram. It's like, well, they're owned by Facebook, so you're not even really making a stand on that one, eh?
It's just a lack of knowledge,
Yeah, yeah,
like it's like, oh, we got six people in our company, you know what, then I'm not going to use you as my rep. I'm just going to use someone else in your company.
yeah,
But yeah, it's
yeah.
still,
The
still my
same deal.
company.
Yeah,
Like it's me. Like who founded it. So yeah, but look, for me personally, I think motivation and being competitive is just something that I've always had, even on Gran Turismo 1 as a little kid. But over the years, I think it's important to be competitive. But as you grow up, you become more appreciative of competitors as well. So that's something really important. You can be competitive and have your own goals and ambitions. That's not a problem, but also appreciate other people that might also have the same goal as you.
absolutely. Well, you can learn a lot from them as well, even if they are crushing you.
Yeah, and I'm getting that at the moment. I've got this one guy, half a second, 6/10 of a second per lap on a Monday night, and it's like, ah,
Yeah,
damn.
but you'll get him one day, and that'll be the best feeling ever.
I'm dreaming of that final lap, final corner, like overtaking and winning the race. That would be a sweet day.
Absolutely. All right, so let's sort of start to wind it up here. Just for the young people out there, you, I really like how just you've managed to. So the 24-year-old Ivan, lots of new ideas, lots of shiny things, but no real structure in that. Now it seems like you have a lot of structure, but you still have a whole heap of ideas. You're still doing a whole bunch of different things. What is your advice to people that have a lot of passions, have a lot of things that they want to do? How do you prioritize and all that kind of?
Great question. Really good question. Get the first one right, and then come to me with the second one.
Yeah, yeah, control. Yeah,
That's always the case. Like you don't half bake the cake and then turn the oven off,
right. Yeah, I like it.
and
Yeah,
then go start another one. Like doesn't make sense. So digital marketing tribe, and even my choice of sim racing is because of digital marketing tribe. So in order for digital marketing tribe to have the best chance of success, me racing on a simulator actually helps that because I don't have the potential of crashing and hurting myself. I don't have the potential of Saturdays and Sundays I go missing. And then on a Monday, I'm sore and all that stuff that comes with sport or grumpy. Well, I'm still grumpy when I don't win.
yeah,
But the point is, you need to make the decisions that are the right decisions for your first venture.
yeah.
Get the first venture right, and then start the second venture. Going through that at the moment with a couple of our customers as well. Like that they want to start so many things, yet the first thing is not right yet, and you're just gonna overcommit. You're gonna half bake everything, and then ultimately no one's gonna want to eat your cake.
Absolutely, it will collapse. Yeah, yeah, that's perfect.
Well,
So, pro gamers, young people into games, should they do it? How do they do it? What is your advice? And what would you say for them if they're trying to convince their parents in that, gaming and pro gaming is a good thing?
okay. So there are a lot of gamers out there. There's amazing talent out there, and there are people that are seriously good at their game. But they also need to understand that they also, to make this a living, they need to create a brand. So they need to create a Facebook page, YouTube page, Twitch page, whatever page you want to make, and you need to start recording it, and they need to start to showcase your character, because there's a lot of other pro gamers that are as good as you. And so what's going to make you stand out and have a career long term is to be branded. So you need to have your own channel, showcase your own videos, have some personality, have some structure, learn how to video edit, learn how to make images on Canva and create pages and all that. So that's really, really important, because if you want to, one day I'll have a kid, boy or girl, doesn't matter. And they're going to say, I'm a pro gamer. Good. All right. What's the strategy? When are you going to get your first 1,000 likes, 2,000 likes, 3,000 likes? How do you get more people to watch your show? How many people are you talking about your show? That's important, because you're not going to monetize gaming until you understand that you yourself need to have your own following. That's why we called it a tribe. So as a pro gamer, you need to have your own tribe. So people that follow you, because then brands would be like, well, these people, if a brand says boo, they buy it. Okay, great. Let's go and put our money with him, because when he says something, people buy it.
And how do you brand yourself? What's your advice on that? Should you look up to people and get advice from a range of sources, or how?
Yeah. Look at the top streamers, top Twitchers, top YouTubers of your own industry. Start to get a feel for that and what they're doing, what they aren't doing, how they do things. Then think about yourself, who you are. You got to be you. You can't be someone else. And then just get advice from a whole bunch of people, and then figure out your colors, and then away you go. But it's not going to be pretty the first time. It's going to be worked on, and then eventually gets good.
I love it. You got to refine those rough edges before you can get something nice and shiny.
You got to start. You just got to start. You got to commit. You got to start. It's going to be bad. It's going to be awful. It's going to be cringeworthy in a couple of months, but then it'll get better.
Absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today, Ivan. I really appreciate it. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to get just such an array of advice that you've got. I could pick your brain for a long time. You're a man of, as I've already said, you're a man of many talents. Good on you for making a change in the world. And yes, thank you very much for being part of our show.
I appreciate it. I appreciate being on the show. Thank you, everyone. And look forward. I'm sure it's only the first one. I got a feeling there'll be a couple more.
Sounds good to me.